Hey, welcome to another episode of the Fifth Growth Machine podcast. I'm Brian Rosenthal, your host, and today I'm going to interview Quin Amorim. He sold his first item, and listen well, he sold his first item online over 25 years ago. I don't even know what I was doing 25 years ago. And in 2014, he joined Amazon FBA, where he has since created several brands of his own private label and manages several multi-million dollar accounts with his prolific team. Before talking to him, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by BSR Digital. At BSR Digital, we help e-commerce brands that want to scale their business to the next level through Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. Yes, even after the iOS 14 update, now more than ever, we need to understand that it's really important to level up the marketing and design a solid strategy, as what used to work doesn't anymore. So if your e-commerce brand lacks a solid plan and professional team to increase sales, we can help the same way we have helped more than 1,000 brands like yours for over a decade. To learn more, you can visit us at bsrdigital.com, and you can also email us at hello@bsrdigital.com. Now, as promised, I have Quin here with me. Hey, man, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me here, Brian. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. We always have great conversations, very interesting and insightful. So I'm happy that this time you are on the show. And we're gonna skip this. I mean, today's Black Friday, right? And it's a pretty big day for every e-commerce brand, right?
Yes, it's one of the top, maybe top three of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. So I hope this serves you well. Of course, it's going to be probably too late for your Black Friday this year, but who knows? You might get a thing or two for this holiday season, probably not for today, but for what's next this year and next year too. Okay. So please, Quin, why don't you start by telling the audience more about your story?
All right. So first, I guess let me touch on that Black Friday thing a little bit before I tell my story, just because a lot of people should know that this is really big day. So it is important that you have inventory. So it's probably going to be too late for you to take care of this year's inventory, but you'll know for the future, because people are going to go to Amazon and any other platform. They're going to go looking for these deals. And if you are not there, they're going to buy your competitor's product, right? So not only it's going to take away that, let's say if it's something that is a replenishable item and it takes 30 days to take it, like a supplement or whatever, for those 30 days, they're not going to buy your product because they're going to go to Amazon and they're going to try to find this product that's on a discount or on a deal, and they will buy it. So they won't buy yours. Not only that, but the way the Amazon algorithm works is the guy that gets the most sales, the most conversion, is the one that's going to show up on the top of the first page, right? So if you are not that guy, your competitor is going to get all those sales. So if you run out at the beginning of the Black Friday and your competitor doesn't, he's going to get all those sales. So it's not really that you didn't make a huge amount of money on Black Friday. What worse is that your competitor now had beat you organically, because tomorrow he's going to use the power of the sales that he got from that day. And basically, that's what I wanted to say. It's not all about how much you're going to make that day in sales, but it's not letting other people get ahead of you, because the faster you get the sales, the higher conversion rate you get, is what's going to show Amazon the relevancy, right? And relevancy is number one in ranking organically. So if they rank organically ahead of you, they're going to get more sales than you. That's it. So just don't let that happen, right? If you have to run some ads. I mean, as long as you have inventory, that's it.
Yeah, pretty important.
So,
thanks for the advice, man.
yeah, sorry, I had to before the story, I wanted to bring that in.
No, that's perfect.
So my story, like you said, I sold my first item online more than 25 years ago. It was 1997. And it wasn't at the time, it wasn't because I was a visionary and I knew the future was going to be online, you know, it wasn't really that. It was, so I worked at a famous car dealership. It was a US manufacturer, but I was in Europe. I was in Portugal. And on the drive to work, or actually on the drive from work to home, I heard about this new company in the US, and it was eBay, but it had just changed names because it started with a different name. And then when it changed to the name to eBay, it was like at the early stages, and it was worth $300 million. And back in 1997, when I heard the, 300 million for this business that just started, that was mind blowing, right? And it was on the radio as I was driving, like FM radio in the car. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And they sell things on this site. People sell used things, and right? What the heck is this? So I went home and checked it out, and it didn't exist in Europe. This was like eBay.com, like the USA one. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try this. And I listed some things. To be honest, I think they were my sister's. I don't think they were my stuff. I just took things from her, and I listed them, and it sold. So when it sold, something clicked. There was a store close to work that had these wooden statues. They were made in Morocco, and Morocco, I mean, now considering, because now I'm in Canada and everything is so big and so far away that, you can drive 500 kilometers to go drink coffee somewhere. But in Europe, it wasn't like that. In Europe, if I drive 500 kilometers, I cross 3 countries, right? I'm not in Canada, 500 kilometers, I'm in the same district, which is a province here, so Morocco is pretty close. And the guys from Morocco, they would cross the border and try to sell these statues. And this store had a ton of them. And I thought they were so cool. They're handmade, carved by hand. I thought they were so cool, but they cost a lot of money. And I wanted them, but I couldn't buy enough of them to decorate anything. So I always used to think, this store is really hidden. It was really hidden store. So I figured there's so many people out there that have enough money to buy this. They just don't know they exist. And then that clued in. When I sold my sister items on eBay, I knew if I take pictures of that stuff and put it there, then these people in the US, they'll know this exists, right? And they'll buy it. And I started taking pictures and listing them from pictures from the store. I would go to the store with a camera because there was no smartphones. I would go there with a camera, take a picture, and then put that picture on ebay.com and try to sell these with, of course, with a markup, with some profit. And the funny thing is, they started selling, and then I would have to run to the store, buy it after I sold it, right? Buy it, and then go to the post office and ship it to the US. So it wasn't scalable for that reason. And another reason that's very important, they were handmade. So there was only one of each in the world, right? So if I took a picture of one and I got to the store and it wasn't there, man, I didn't have an item to deliver, right? At the time, reviews weren't that important because I don't know, but it was the only site I knew that sold things like that. So nobody cared about reviews. To be honest, I don't even know if the review system was in place yet. I can't remember that far, but that's how it started. And then, of course, because I saw it worked. Like I said, I wasn't a visionary. I just tried it, and I wanted to make extra money to party. And because it started working, then I knew, okay, now I have to get products that are not unique, not one of a kind, things that I can sell 100 of each or 200, right? And that's how I started looking for products, and they weren't mine. I wasn't private labeling. I didn't even know the name, to be honest. I didn't even know the name drop shipping back in 1997. I didn't know that name existed. So you know what I called this, what I was doing? I called it selling the pictures, because that's the only thing I owned. It was a picture. I didn't have an item. I didn't have money to buy the item, right? And it was so I didn't even know. I mean, YouTube didn't exist, so
Yeah.
I couldn't go search for how to drop ship something because I didn't know the word, and YouTube didn't exist. So I called it selling the pictures, and it grew from there. And then I got into selling other people's stuff, kind of like wholesale, right? I would buy bulk of something, then sell it there until I realized I could start building my own brands. That at the time it sounded like something that was completely insane, that like I could build my own brand. But now looking back, it's something so easy, man. You can build your own brand of something in a week, and you don't have to own the factory. You don't have to own anything. You just tell the factory what you want to get done. They'll do it for you, and man, you start selling, right? Then of course you have to do marketing and stuff, and that's what I do now. Mostly, like you said, I transferred everything to Amazon in 2014. eBay got to a point where I think that was it, 2014 or 15. I think the fourth quarter of 2015, I canceled 700 listings I had on eBay. I had 700 products for sale on eBay, and I canceled all of them because it got to the point where, for example, Amazon was delivering things within 2 days, right? Like the Prime, or even if it wasn't Prime, it would still get delivered within a week. Anything you ordered in eBay, because it was in eBay, it was coming directly from China, you could get it delivered in 30 days, sometimes 60 days, if you wanted to get free shipping, right? And I couldn't compete with that because those were the Chinese manufacturers themselves listing on eBay. And imagine if I'm selling a Bluetooth speaker, and I'm selling, I want to make $25 on that Bluetooth speaker, and the Chinese manufacturer is selling it there with free shipping after 60 days for $4. I can't compete, right? There's no chance to compete. So, and at the time, everything was like Me Too products. I wasn't making my products different than the other ones. So what the Chinese manufacturer was selling was the same as mine, right? So that was, of course, my mistake. It wasn't a mistake at the time. I didn't care to do better and branding my own stuff. Like right now, I only deal with branded stuff. Like we create brands, launch these brands. They have, the brand has like its own personality. The products are different. You don't just, if you go to Amazon, for example, and you search for a certain product, if you see mine, it is not the same as the other 500 sellers that have the exact same thing, the same color and the same packaging. It's different. And basically that's what I do today. And I just do it in a different scale, in a bigger scale. And I also, like you mentioned, I have an agency, so I do it for other people as well.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a really interesting journey. I mean, when you start testing, you don't know what's ahead. I mean, you don't know the future, right? Right now
Mhm.
we see it with today's newspaper, and things look different. But in the beginning, I mean, in 1997 or something like that, it wasn't a thing to sell online for most people. It wasn't a thing to trust somebody online.
Yeah.
Even it was well known, but it wasn't as well known as it is today or many years after that year. So even if there wasn't reviews, probably they didn't even trust eBay in the first place, right? I don't know, right? I was really young in '97, but I know that everything started I mean, the boom started, later. Not many people had stable or fast internet back then. Dial-up
Yeah.
was the most common thing, I believe, right? And some other stuff. Again, I was pretty young, and I got probably my first computer with internet in the 2000 or 99, but it was really slow. It was a different thing. I'm in Argentina, so it's not the fastest, I mean, country to get the new technology, right? But probably in the US or in Canada or even in Europe was faster, but how many years before? I mean, right?
Yeah, I don't know about faster, because it was a dial-up, like connected to the phone, right? So for example, if my mom answered the phone,
Yeah.
I would not have internet. It would disconnect. And I remember trying to open a picture, for example, and to open a picture, it could take 30 seconds to open one image. And we know the picture quality at that time is not the same as now, right? A picture, it doesn't have, 100 megabytes. Back then, a picture could have 4 megabytes, right? My first computer was a Spectrum 128K. So that means the memory of that computer was 128 kilobytes. Right now, everything is measured in terabytes and lots of them. And but mine was kilobytes, man. So right now, I couldn't fit one picture on the computer that I had back then because the memory wasn't big enough, right? So, or the storage. But
Exactly.
yeah.
So if we fast forward today, you guys focus on helping brands. I mean, you have your own private label brands, but you also help through your agency brands grow, right? On Amazon and
Yeah,
Walmart. Is that correct?
that's right. Yes.
Awesome. And let's say, should everyone be on Amazon? For those, listening that are not on Amazon, is Amazon for everyone?
You know what? I every time I get asked that, it is like, do you think my brand should be on Amazon? I think immediately of few reasons why yes, why it should. And they're the obvious ones, right? Amazon has 320 million clients. 320 million, right? They have 200 million Prime users, right? So those are the ones that are already paying for Prime. So they already have free shipping and everything to their homes, and 2 days and 1 day delivery in most places now, right? This is the marketplace that in Prime Day sold over $12 billion in 1 day. Man, so if your product is there and they're selling $12 billion in 1 day, I mean, there's traffic for everything. People go there to buy. That's the main difference. Because, Brian, I have Shopify sites too, right? And every brand, not almost every brand, but every single brand that I have has its own Shopify site as well. It's just because I want to be everywhere, right? So uh, on Shopify, the difference is we run ads to get that traffic, and we do SEO to try to get the most free traffic that we can, and then email marketing. So we got to do a bunch of everything to try to get that traffic. And most of the traffic, like because you're an ads guy, that most of that traffic is going to click on your ad or click land on your page, but they don't have any intention of buying, right? So on Amazon, everybody that goes on Amazon and searches for, let's use the same keyword, Bluetooth speaker. Everybody that searches for Bluetooth speaker on Amazon is looking for Bluetooth speakers to buy. They're not going there to look at videos of Bluetooth speakers or look at pictures, right? If they go in the search bar and type Bluetooth speaker, they're looking to buy one. So if you can get to show your product to them first, they're going to buy your product. I mean, if you have nice images, a good price, decent reviews, right? So there's a big difference, and that's why I really like selling on Amazon, but I try to sell everywhere else too. So I don't have all eggs in one basket. But there's a big difference in conversion rate. For example, on a Shopify store where you can get 2 or 3%, right? So if 100 people land in your page, 2 or 3 buy the product, it's not bad. I have some products on Amazon that can get 60%. 60%. It's not all, of course. Then there's 20s and 30s. You never want to have less than 10% conversion on Amazon. That means something is wrong with your product, either the title, the listing, the reviews, or something. So it is a huge difference. So you can get a lot of free sales on Amazon without ads. We do have to run ads though, and a lot of them, just because there's a lot of competition there too. But I would say everybody should be on Amazon. It gives you new brand exposure, brand awareness. The more places you are in, the more people are going to see your brand over and over. And some people say, I can't be on Amazon because the fees are too high. But in reality, right, they're going to charge you, the average is 15% of the gross sale, right? And then there's pick and pack fees, which you would have to pay for shipping anyway. Pick and pack is always cheaper than if you were doing the shipping yourself, always. And 15% commission, I mean, you would probably have to spend more than 15% of the sale to run ads, right? So, yeah, so if I would say yes to everybody.
Awesome. So let's say Amazon has many products, but let's, I don't know, say organic to start off with, organic and paid, PPC ads. So you said that you try to do everything organic unless you need to run ads due to competition, all the stuff. So is that how you recommend people starting, or how you do things? You start organically, try to optimize the products as much as possible, and then if you see that there's a need, you run ads, or you constantly run ads for many products?
No, I would do paid ads always. So here's the thing: when you're launching, if you try to go just organically, your launch is slower, right? Now, if you pay, it's less profitable. Sometimes you may have a loss, but your growth is more explosive. It's bigger. And the algorithms measure that they want to see products that go on Amazon, and the first day they have, if you sell 100 units on the first day, Amazon's like, okay, it's not a person, but it's algorithms. They're like, okay, this product just landed here and it's sold like crazy. Let's bump them up to see what it can do, right? So, of course, when you first launch, you have 0 reviews. So you have less social proof than the guy that's been selling for a while and has 10,000 reviews, right? So the only thing you can compete with them at that point is if you have better quality, better images, branding that catches the attention, and or sometimes you have to lower the price, because a lot of people look for that too. If both products can do the same thing, and just you can see, okay, this one is newer, but I mean it's half price, then you may get that sale. And the thing is, by getting that sale, sometimes you may have to lose a bit of money during the launch with running the ads and lowering your price, but you start getting those conversions, and that is going to increase your organic ranking for the keywords. So I personally, I run ads to all products, Brian, and even when I'm on the top positions, like above the fold of page 1, like if I'm first place, second place, or whatever, I still run those ads. I don't have to have a huge budget when I'm number 1 for something. But if I don't, the guy that's number 2 is going to beat me, and he will become number 1. And the first 4 positions, organic, the first guy on the page, second, third, and fourth, they all show up on the same level on when you do a search on a laptop. For example, on mobile, it's different, it's one by one. But on a laptop, the first four products are the ones that get the majority of sales, because the rest, and then below that, so above that, there's ads. It is actually changed this week or last week, 5 products per line now. Amazon is testing in most categories. So it is normally the first 4 are ads, and then the four below that are organic, and then there's going to be the editor recommendations and stuff like that. So you have to be on those first 4 organic. If you're the 5th, the difference in sales from the 4th organic position to the 5th is insane, the difference. So I that's why I keep running my ads, because I don't want to go below 4th. If I am 5th, I put another effort in there. Sometimes there are keywords that I want those to be my keywords, that when somebody searches for those keywords, my product is the one. So sometimes I create a rule that keyword doesn't have to have positive ROAS, or the ACOS, like we say on Amazon, the advertising cost of sales, meaning I don't care if I have to lose 40 cents, 50 cents for every product that I sell under that keyword, just so somebody else doesn't take it. Because if I lose, imagine, I lose $1 for every unit that I sell and with that keyword only, right? Not the entire ad campaign. But if the keyword, imagine yellow Bluetooth speaker, if I get 50 clicks on that keyword, and I'm losing money in every one that I sell, but I stay first place organically, I may get 200 or 300 organic clicks from being number one. So I allow for the ad itself to lose money, so the organic can pay for that loss, and it does. If you're number 1, 2, 3, 4 at any keyword that has volume on Amazon, you're in the right place. I mean, keywords with volume, because there are keywords that.
So you're saying that, sorry, you're saying that your paid efforts affect directly your organic efforts too.
That's right. Yes, every single conversion counts as sales velocity and relevancy. So to that keyword. Yeah.
Okay. So we are saying that, Amazon is for everyone, of course, with the right timing and the right budget, right? Because from what I heard, right, from previous conversations, and correct me if I'm wrong, some categories could be tougher than others, right? The entry barrier could be much higher. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Some categories are almost untouchable unless you have this huge budget, right? For example, there are things like the collagen space, or like protein. Protein is one of the things that is one of the most searched keywords in North America. So protein powder. So that means that because the demand is so big, the guys that are at the top with those sales in protein or collagen, they're making millions, many millions every single month. So they're not going to allow for somebody to come into the space and just take those sales from them. So a lot of those guys, what they do is they own keywords, like I try to own my keywords, that they may be marketing those keywords at a loss. For example, collagen peptides, if you wanted to try to, the cost per click for a keyword like that is almost impossible to ever have profit, because if somebody's paying, I can't remember what it is, but imagine if it's $12 per click, right? And you need to get 5 clicks to get a sale. Now we're talking about, what is that? 60 or $70 that you have to spend on ads to sell your product that costs 19. So that means for every $70 you spend, you're selling one collagen powder or whatever that costs $19, that you have to pay $6 in fees to Amazon, and you paid another $5 to manufacture that product, right? So the ads itself are not profitable, but the organic position makes them millions. When you launch, you don't have the organic position, and you want to try to rank for a keyword like protein powder, you don't have the budget. Like most people don't have the budget to try to rank for protein powder to beat the system to get to number one. Plus, you have a big disadvantage when you start is you don't have reviews. And those guys that are on top of the page where you want to be, they have 20,000 or 30,000 reviews. And if those reviews have an average of 4.5 stars, it's, man, you cannot compete with that. For one, they won't let you because you can easily be squished. And I personally don't even, and I've been here, like, I've been around for a long time, and I don't get into those categories unless there's a way to do it. Unless you have something unique, unless your protein is not made from the same things that the other ones are, right? Like, for example, the plant-based protein, it is growing. It's already at the stage where it's very hard to compete. But if you have plant protein that is different, it's not all from chickpeas or whatever, right? You need to have something different and unique, and then you can start having your own search terms and your own keywords, right? Because, for example, protein powder is a huge keyword, and everybody searches for protein powder. Actually, if you type in PROT, Amazon will actually finish your search for you and automatically populate protein powder or protein, and then you just have to click on it. But if you now have something that is like, I don't know, imagine cabbage protein, right? I don't know if that exists. I'm making it up, but if you have cabbage protein and it didn't exist until now, if somebody starts typing cabbage, Amazon finishes the cabbage protein, you're going to be the one that's on top of the page, because now you are unique and you're the only one that has that. Or if it's you and 10 other people. So for everybody listening, I don't know if or cabbage protein exists. So I'm not saying that you should go launch it, but maybe it is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea behind that comment is that you should find those keywords that are more of opportunities than the well-established keywords that every big fish is bidding for, right? Because it's
Yeah.
going to be possible. So probably, I don't know, you tell me long tail keywords or some, niche down keywords or something that is not the what everyone else is doing, because otherwise it's going to be too tough. Um, so I just wanted to ask you something. I forgot the main question I wanted to ask you because it was pretty interesting what you said. So yeah, I remember. So you're basically saying, long story short, because you mentioned a lot of interesting things and tips, but the main thing behind owning a keyword is mainly increasing the bid big time, right? So if the
Mm.
normal bid is 1 and you want to own the keyword, you just say, okay, this is 50. I don't know, I'm just making it up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it is. So basically, so you can keep your organic position of that keyword.
Yeah.
Now, you have to remember that if you are bidding, imagine you want to bid $50 per click for a keyword. And even if your product only sells for $10, it's up to you what your budget is. But imagine if you want to do that, you have to remember that if people click on your ad and they do not convert, and every time somebody searches for whatever that keyword is that you're bidding $50 on, and you are not relevant to that keyword, right? You don't become the number one organic position for it because you're not getting those conversions. So you have to be relevant, and Amazon measures the relevancy through, if somebody searches for something, they found your product and they bought it with that keyword, then you are relevant, right? It doesn't just have to happen once, it has to happen several times. So if, like I often tell people, if you're trying to rank for a, I don't know, cell phone or Bluetooth speaker, but you want to use the word chainsaw, if you are converting for the word chainsaw when you're selling Bluetooth speakers, eventually you will rank for, when somebody searches for a chainsaw, you will rank for that, right? I mean, it's hard that it happens because people are searching for Bluetooth speaker, don't want to buy chainsaws. But what I'm trying to say is that whatever you are relevant for, that people are converting for, is what you're going to rank for. It doesn't matter how much you bid. I can bid 50 and Amazon will never show my ad because nobody's buying that product or my product with that. So they'll just stop showing your ads because it's useless. And they want their customer to have the right experience. So when you go to Amazon, you type chainsaw, you want to see a page full of chainsaws. To be honest, that's something I never searched on Amazon, chainsaws. But I bet they sell them, yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, so I wanted to appreciate your time today. You shared a lot of value with the audience about, Amazon ads, organic, how they, work together, or against you if you are not relevant, the industries probably to avoid this, and the tips for, brands that want to get into Amazon. I think that it's a good thing to do. And one thing I think I would love to know your thoughts about it is that, of course, there are some intersections and overlaps, but I think one doesn't cannibalize the other. I mean, Shopify doesn't cannibalize Amazon. There are some Amazon fans that
Mhm.
will go to Amazon and shop. There are some, my wife, she goes to, I mean, the go-to platform for her is Instagram. She doesn't shop within Instagram, but that's the search engine she uses. She doesn't use Google or any other. She uses Instagram.
Mhm.
Some other people use eBay or use Amazon or use whatever, right? And some other people Google or see a Facebook ad or whatever ad, and or organically, and they visit the website and they love buying on websites. So I don't think it's cannibalizing, having an Amazon presence and the Shopify presence. I think you can actually get many different customers. What's your experience with this?
I actually, I'm happy that you brought that up because that's a great point. Then, like I said earlier, I want to be everywhere because everywhere there are clients. So on Instagram, there are people that are interested in your product that if they see it, they might like, oh, you know what, I want this, right? And if you weren't there, they're not gonna find your product and buy it. But there is a very important thing that I want to tell everybody, that it is, if you're going to be everywhere, you have to be there professionally. So for example, let's say don't create an Instagram page and put one crappy picture and on the bio you have your website, is because that may actually do more harm than good. Because if people search and find your official Instagram page and it sucks and you only have one picture and no content and it's not nice and zero followers, they'll actually be like, you know what, I don't trust this company. Like, there's zero followers, and right. So in that case, it's better to not be there and they go and find you somewhere else, because people do search like detective work sometimes, like, oh, what is this brand, and they go and Google it and they go check to try to find them on YouTube or whatever. So if you're not there, they will find another social platform where you are, and maybe you look better there, right? So if you're going to be everywhere, be there and be nice, be branded and professional, and make sure that it looks that you are trustworthy.
I totally agree. Hey, Quinn, do you have any favorite books that you would like to recommend the audience?
You know what? I have one. I only read it once, but it marked me. And it's Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers.
Yeah, okay.
And that is, I mean, it was an eye opener for me, because now every time I see something that stands out, I think about that, like the 10,000 hours. The reason why Bill Gates became who he was is explained in that book, is because he was one of the first human beings that have free access to a computer. And it explains it there why, because his mother worked at this school, something like that, and he would go there after hours and he would have access to the computer, while all the students had to buy time, and time was limited because everybody had to share the one computer, right? So how all, or like 90% of all the big famous hockey players were born between January and February. And yeah, and then he explains, I don't know the exact numbers or months, but it's because the time of the year that you're born, you enroll into the upper level in hockey 1 year earlier. So the guy that's born, let's say in June, right? He is 5 when he enters the team, but you turn 5, or you're 4 and you get to enter. So you will have an advantage, a 1 year advantage over your fellow teammates. Basically, you get to learn more and faster, and then the guys that have, when you show that you have more abilities, those guys are put under special training, whatever. So anyway, it's a fantastic thing to think about
I
why
love
things happen.
those insights, and once they, um, they find some patterns, yeah, I love those books, so I will definitely read it. Yeah, I mean, it's been a pleasure to have you here, Queen. I really enjoyed the conversation as always. It's super interesting talking to you. You know a lot about what you do, and you provide in this case, you provide the audience with a lot of insights, and I really appreciate that. For everyone listening or watching the video version, you feel free to go to fitgrowthmachine.com. If you are already there, scroll down, you will see the show notes, and we'll find the resources mentioned in this interview. For example, the book, Queen's website. And also, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting platform, but I mean, the audio version, let's say, you can head on over to fitgrowthmachine.com and grab the full show notes there with all the resources mentioned. Queen, I just wanted to thank you again, and please tell me, where can people go to learn more about you and the company?
Well, to find the company, it is prolificzone.com, and it's a name that I got from Russell Brunson from the ClickFunnels, and I'm not one of those ClickFunnels fanboys, but I did hear the story about what the meaning of prolific zone, and I got that domain after he mentioned it. So that's it, prolificzone.com. And then if you spell my name with one N, so it's Quin with one N, Quin Amorim, any Google search will show up, like 20 results on the first page, because I do a bit of SEO, because I had to learn it with all these years trying to sell things. I learned a bunch of SEO without even having to go to school. So
That's great. Queen, thank you again for being here.
Brian, it's a big pleasure. Thanks.